foods every man over 50 should avoid eating, and why. Looking for an easy, effective way to fight the aging process? Steer clear of some unhealthy foods proven to increase your risk of heart disease, middle-age spread, type 2 diabetes, and more. Nutrition experts hesitate to call any food forbidden, reasoning that it's okay to eat all foods in moderation, with an occasional treat of less than healthy fare. Still, some foods do merit a spot on the worst foods for your health list for men over 50. Why that age 50 cutoff? Because, as clinic experts explain, one way to cut the risk of medical conditions that are more common in older men, such as heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and high blood pressure, is to cut back on foods high in saturated fats, trans fats, cholesterol, salt, and added sugars. We asked experts to tell us about those worst foods and explain what to eat instead. Here are their answers. Breakfast toaster pastries are calorie bombs. Forget having dessert for breakfast, says Leslie Bonsi, RDN, dietitian, and sports nutrition consultant for major athletic teams, who is based in Pittsburgh. She's talking about pop-up toaster pastries, which she calls calorie bombs. A typical toaster pastry can have 190 calories or more, lots of added sugar, and not much protein or fiber, Bondi says, an assessment that data confirms. It's important to have protein at breakfast, adds Bonsi, which is something that most toaster pastries are short on. A comprehensive review published and suggested that people working to improve their body composition, the ratio of body fat to muscle, should ideally consume between 25 and 35 grams g of protein at every meal. Protein plays a key role in preventing the slow, progressive loss of lean muscle mass that commonly occurs with aging, plus it helps stop weight gain by triggering the release of satiety hormones that increase the feeling of fullness and decrease appetite. In addition, a study published found that a high-protein breakfast may improve blood sugar control and insulin levels after eating carbohydrates, such as white bread, potentially reducing the risk of type 2 diabetes over time. Bottom line for a better breakfast, the National Institute on Aging recommends selecting foods high in nutrients yet relatively low in calories, and including several food groups. For example, good choices would be an egg or two for protein, plus a slice of whole grain bread and some berries. Fatty lunch meats are bad for your heart. Avoid salami, pepperoni, and bologna, Bonsi advises, as they all have a lot of saturated fat. A 1-ounce Oz serving of hard salami, for example, can have about 115 calories and more than 9 g of fat, much of which is saturated fat, per the USDA. The biggest problem with saturated fat is that it's proven to raise bad cholesterol, increasing the risk of heart disease, according to the American Heart Association, AHA. What's more, the World Health Organization has long recommended limiting consumption of salami and other processed meats because they've been linked to another big killer, colorectal cancer. Why isn't clear. It may be due to the meat's high fat content, to preservatives added during processing, or to a combination of factors. Bottom line, fill your sandwich instead with grilled or roasted boneless, skinless chicken breast. In comparison to hard salami, a much larger serving, 3.5 ounces cooked, has about 165 calories and less than 3.6 g of fat, most of which is not saturated. White chocolate is just a lot of empty calories. Compared with its confectionery cousin dark chocolate, white chocolate can claim little to no health benefits, says Jim White, RDN, a spokesperson for the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics and a dietitian and personal trainer in Virginia Beach, Virginia. In fact, white chocolate isn't even chocolate. It's mostly vegetable fat and added sugar, White says, which explains why a 1.4-ounce bar of white chocolate contains about 230 calories, 16 g of fat, and 20 g of sugar, per the USDA. Dark chocolate, on the other hand, contains cocoa solids, which boast lots of beneficial antioxidants called flavonols, which are linked to a lower risk for heart disease, according to the AHA. Flavonols also help lower blood pressure by relaxing the blood vessels and improving blood flow, note Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health experts. They also are associated with a lower risk of insulin resistance. So even though dark chocolate's calorie and fat content is similar to that of white chocolate, dark chocolate can actually be good for you. Bottom line, go ahead and indulge in dark chocolate, but choose 70% or higher cacao dark chocolate to obtain the most flavanols. And know that a little bite will suffice. Most studies that have measured the healthful benefits of dark chocolate used serving sizes of 1 to 3 ounce daily, according to Cleveland Clinic Wellness. Ribeye steak is loaded with unhealthy fat. Chew on this. Depending on how it's cooked, ribeye is one of the fattiest meats, says Deepak Talreja, MD, a cardiologist in Hampton Roads, Virginia, and an assistant professor of medicine at Eastern Virginia Medical School in Norfolk. It's marbled with fat and gristle. In fact, a 4 ounces boneless ribeye steak can provide 16 g of fat, much of it saturated, notes the USDA. Bottom line, if you need a beef fix, choose leaner cuts of meat, such as top round steak or New York strip steak. Per the USDA, a 4 ounce New York has approximately 7 g of fat, quite a bit less than the ribeye. Protein bars are often candy bars in disguise. Affixing the word protein can make any bar sound like a healthy snack, but don't be fooled too often that protein bar is really just an incognito candy bar loaded with calories and too much added sugar, Bonsi explains. Bottom line, if you love protein bars for the convenience and want to ensure you get a good-for-you snack, choose one that's high in protein and low in sugar, less than 7 g of sugar, Bonsi advises. 2 that fit the bill: Dieter Smart Coconut Almond Oatmeal Protein Bar, 10 g protein, 3 g sugar, and 150 calories, and Simply Protein Lemon Crispy Bar, 15 g protein, 3 g sugar, and 150 calories. Or you can skip the bar and eat a 100-calorie snack pack of nuts, or a handful of homemade trail mix made by mixing together unsalted nuts, raisins, sunflower seeds, and some whole grain cereal, like Cheerios, unfrosted mini wheats, or puffed wheat. American cheese is not actually cheese. Surprise, that orange stuff so ubiquitous atop burgers and in grilled cheese sandwiches isn't actually cheese. It's a food that contains cheese, plus a host of non-cheese ingredients, which can include oils, milk fat, starch, salt, and preservatives, plus emulsifiers, molecules used to give it a glossy, smooth texture and help everything bind together. To know how much cheese is in a particular brand of American cheese, check the label. If it contains at least 51% cheese, the Code of Federal Regulations from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration allows it to legally be called a cheese food. If it contains even a little less cheese, it must be labeled a cheese product. The truth is that these are highly processed foods, says Michelle Grader, RDN, a dietitian at Bethany Medical Clinic in New York City. They contain a ton of fat and salt, plus lots of additives to give them color and flavor and extend their shelf life. There's really not much nutritional value. Bottom line, expand your cheese horizons to foods that can legally be called cheese, and thus are a good source of calcium, a mineral that's critical for healthy bones and teeth and several essential body processes. One of the healthiest cheese choices of all, Grader says, is goat cheese. It has different fatty acids than cheese from cow's milk, so it's easier to digest, especially for people with sensitivities to dairy, she explains. Goat cheese also contains fewer calories, about 80 calories per ounce, less than popular cow cheeses like provolone, 98 calories, brie, 100 calories, Swiss, 111 calories, and cheddar, 115 calories, per the USDA. And although real cheese is high in saturated fat, it's dairy fat, which a study published in July 2018 in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition suggested may not increase the risk of heart disease, thanks to its unique fatty acids. In fact, the study, which involved nearly 3,000 adults ages 65 and older, found that having high levels of the fatty acids in whole dairy foods significantly reduced a person's risk.